How the Cosmic Energizer can create riches and abundance for you. There is only one fundamental energy in the world, the Cosmic Energizer, and each one of us is a channel through which this force is seeking a creative outlet. It is necessary that we become clear channels for the flow of this divine energy. Each one of us is a focal point of the divine, somewhat as an electric bulb may be looked upon as a focal point for the flow of electric current. This Cosmic Energizer flows harmoniously, peacefully, rhythmically, and joyously, and when we let this power flow constructively through us, we are acting in harmony with the Cosmic Energizer, and we will manifest harmony, health, peace, and all the riches of the infinite in our lives. Whenever we indulge in remorse, self-condemnation, resentment, or any form of negative thinking, the divine energy becomes trapped within us and produces all sorts of trouble. How to channel the riches of the infinite. The following is a wonderful method for the release of the Cosmic Energizer in you. I forgive myself for harboring any negative thoughts about myself or anybody else, and I resolve not to do so anymore. I radiate love and goodwill to all men and women, and to all people everywhere. I know when I have forgiven others, because I can think of them or meet them in my mind, and there is absolutely no sting there. This attitude makes a clear and open channel for the divine energy. Pray as follows. I claim that God's love, light, harmony, truth, beauty, abundance, and security flow through me freely and joyously. And I know I am now being prospered and blessed beyond my fondest dreams. Repeat this prayer aloud night and morning 3 times. As your eyes are focused on these truths and your ears hear them, you now have 2 faculties working for you, and you will find these truths will sink into your subconscious mind. Since the laws of your subconscious are compulsive, you will be impelled and directed to express God's infinite riches in all phases of your life. His idea was worth a fortune. Recently, while at a social gathering, an engineer working in a research laboratory told me that members of his staff were pondering and puzzling over a certain research problem for the armed forces. He said, "I got very quiet and relaxed, secluding myself in another part of the building, and said to my subconscious, 'Mind, I am turning over this request to you, and I know you will reveal the answer to the engineering problem. I am going to let it simmer within you, and when you have the answer, you will present it to my conscious mind.'" The next day, he received the answer clearly in his conscious mind, and the whole problem was quickly unraveled, saving the company considerable money. He received a promotion, a considerable increase in salary, and was made a junior partner in the organization. He will share in the very large annual profits. He adopted new ideas toward money and prospered. A teacher who wished to prosper referred to money as filthy lucre. I explained to him he had to change his attitude toward money, because his silent condemnation of money caused it to fly from him instead of to him. He realized that it would be foolish to pronounce uranium, lead, cobalt, nickel, copper, or a dollar bill as evil. A dollar bill is harmless, and the only difference between it and nickel or copper or any other metal is that the atoms and molecules within their electrons and protons are arranged differently than are those which constitute paper. Here is the practical down-to-earth technique he employed, which multiplied money in his experience. From now on, I look upon money as divine substance, for everything comes out of the one Spirit, God. I know that matter and spirit, energy, are one. I claim and decree that money is constantly circulating in my life, and that there is always a divine surplus. I use money wisely and constructively. Money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. Money is an idea in the mind of God, and it is good and very good. God pronounced all things He created good and very good. This teacher affirmed these truths for about 5 minutes night and morning, and at the end of a month's time, he was promoted with a big increase in salary. He also received a completely unexpected inheritance from an aunt he had never met. He made it a special point to never deny what he was affirming. Let wonders happen in your life by accepting a new attitude towards the riches all around you. Life is energy. God is life, and that is your life now. Life is power and supply. Remember the life. principle is the creative source out of which the world and everything in it was made at the beginning of time, and constant creation is going on now. How he went from $40,000 a year to $200,000. A few days ago on my radio program, I told how a $40,000 a year junior executive in one of the local banks wanted to advance, accomplish greater things, and use his extraordinary knowledge of finances in a far more wonderful and expansive way. Accordingly, he said that he established a mental pattern or mold in his mind and claimed definitely and positively that the energy and vitality of the infinite passing through the mold in his mind would stamp the desired picture in his deeper mind. He made a habit of this, and one day while working at the bank, he was approached by a man who had borrowed a large sum from the bank, who asked him to head his concern in Texas as financial advisor and director. He accepted a 10-year contract and now has a fabulous home, all expenses paid when he travels, liveried chauffeurs, and a $200,000 a year salary. The Cosmic Energizer passed through the picture in his mind and brought it to pass in its own way. This banker's favorite biblical quotation is, "What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." Mark 11:24. How he discovered the riches of life. Recently, I conducted a seminar at the Church of Religious Science in Las Vegas, which is in the charge of an old friend of mine, Dr. David Howe. While interviewing a man in the hotel there, he told me that 4 years previously, when he had arrived in Las Vegas, he had only $20 to his name. He promptly got a job as a waiter, however, and sometimes even played the role of a busboy. A customer in the restaurant where he worked, on observing his industrious attitude, gave him a copy of Your Infinite Power to Be Rich. He read it avidly, and then he wrote down 4 things he most desired on a sheet of paper. First was, "Riches are flowing to me freely and joyously." Second was, "Infinite intelligence guides me to my highest expression." Third was, "I have a lovely home in beautiful surroundings." Fourth was, "I'm happily married to a wonderful woman in divine order." Having read the above-mentioned book carefully and knowing what he wanted, he decided to write down clearly his requests. Every night and morning he would go over these requests, repeating them slowly and deliberately, while knowing that he would draw to himself experiences and conditions similar to his thoughts and imagery. He understood that his technique was a means of impregnating his subconscious mind and establishing the conditions of wealth, success, and harmony in his life. After each period, he would give thanks to the infinite presence within him, for God's riches, true place, his lovely home, and companion in life. He was establishing possession in his mind of all that he had requested. Within 3 months, he had accomplished everything he had written down because of his repeated affirmations and his belief in the workings of his mind. He realized that what was impressed on his subconscious would be expressed. A few weeks after he started the prayer process, he was promoted to the position of head waiter. A client of the restaurant introduced him to a very wealthy woman, whom he married. She had a lovely home in Las Vegas, in which he now lives. He has his own business that he and his wife own and operate, and he has others working for him. The couple are very happily married. He said, "It was love at first sight." Now he has all the money he needs to do what he wants to do, and when he wants to do it. The Cosmic Energizer vivifies, animates, and energizes that which you claim to be true. All the power of the infinite flows through the focal point of your concentrated attention. And all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Matthew 21:22. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Mark 9:23. How he uses the Cosmic Energizer in his work. Emerson said, "Nothing was ever achieved without enthusiasm." A young college graduate in electronics and engineering told me that he is intensely interested in the field of electronics. His enthusiasm is thoroughly aroused in this area, so that he finds tremendous mental energy released, and marvelous new ideas come clearly into his mind. They come, he said, out of the blue. He has brought about many innovations and improvements in the electronics laboratory where he works, and although a young man of 22, already earns $30,000 a year, all due to his faith in the Cosmic Energizer and his enthusiasm for his chosen work. The word enthusiasm comes from the Greek and literally means to be possessed by God. It means an absorbing or controlling possession of the mind by any interest or pursuit. His constant prayer is as follows: "The energy of the infinite power animates and sustains me, and creative ideas unfold within me, revealing to me everything I need to know." He has faith in the response of the Cosmic Energizer, and in the attainment of his goal, then follows enthusiasm, which is awakened by his positive faith. There are times when he feels actually inspired. Gradually, a new world of achievement is opening up for him. This young engineer's favorite Bible verse is, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him." James. Son of former slave, now multimillionaire head of one of biggest banks in West. At 32, railroad cook Milton Grant decided he wanted to make it to the top in business. So he started at the bottom, with a second-hand garbage truck and a third-grade education. By age 40, he'd made his first $1 million, startling feat for a poor black man born the son of former Virginia slaves. Says the board chairman and chief stockholder of the Family Savings and Loan Association of Los Angeles, "I always knew there was a better life, and that it was up to me to find it. Very early in life, I learned that good hard cash makes a nice soft place on which to fall." Hard cash, however, was an item that Grant had very little of as a young man. Born in 1891 in Parkersburg, West Virginia, Grant had to quit school to help support his 11 brothers and sisters. "I shined shoes and did janitor work for a local shoe store. Later, I got a job as a dishwasher so I could learn how to cook. The clean white uniforms of cooks really intrigued me. When I was 13, I got a job washing dishes for $2.50 a week on the Chicago, Rock Island and Pacific Railroad. I finally worked my way up to chief cook, which was the highest railroad job a black man could hold at that time. With the railroad, Grant had job security and even social status. But since he was still young, he was bursting with ambition. With my total savings of $150, I headed for California, where I bought a second-hand truck and started a rubbish collection firm in Pasadena. At first, I earned only $20 a month, but I made it my business to always be prompt, neat, and reliable. And it paid off. In just a few years, I was making $6,000 a month. Grant then bought a hog farm near Los Angeles and fed his stock with some of the garbage he collected. Again, his profits soared, which enabled him to dabble in real estate and eventually buy a small savings and loan business. Under Grant's leadership, the family savings and loan grew and prospered. Today, it's one of the largest on the West Coast. The poorest man can become a millionaire if he just sets goals for himself and then works to reach them. Just remember, all progress starts with yourself. If you sincerely believe that, then you can be whatever you want to be. This is as true in America today as it ever was. Grant, who lives very modestly with his wife Flora, added, "I don't think of myself as a millionaire, although I do have several million. To me, a millionaire's a man with a big wad of bills, who rides around in a big chauffeured limousine and wears fancy clothes. But that's not my lifestyle. I still drive my own car, go to the office every day, and have no plans to retire." Grant, who says he built his fortune one brick at a time, explained to the National Enquirer, "One reason a dollar won't do as much for people today is that most people won't do as much now to earn a dollar like I did." The above is taken from the National Enquirer, April 1973 issue, page 16. It tells the whole story of success, wealth, and achievement. This man came to a decision that there was a better life, and he had a vision of abundance, security, and the good life. Your vision is what you are looking at, what you are giving attention to, and where you want to go in life. Like Milton Grant, you will go where your vision is. Set a goal for yourself, become enthusiastic, and above all, have goodwill, which is love. Love is the fulfilling of the law of health, wealth, success, and victory over problems. How to energize your desire and achieve the riches of life. As I was writing this chapter, I received a long-distance phone call from New York City. This caller was distressed and emotionally racked. Bills were piling up, income tax was due, her husband was laid off, and her son's tuition for his last semester in college was overdue. Her home had been for sale for 12 months, and many looked at it, but never came back. I suggested that she try prayer, pointing out that there is an internal source of supply and a universal wisdom which could solve all problems. At my request, she wrote down the following prayer: "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you." Matthew. God, the Cosmic Energizer, gives life to my ideals, desires, and plans. I surrender my home to the infinite presence, knowing that I will attract the right buyer who wants it and who will prosper in it. I accept this now. I recognize that God is my instant and everlasting supply, meeting all my needs at every moment of time and point of space. I give thanks for God's riches, forever active, unchanging, and eternal. I give thanks for a wonderful new opening for my husband in divine order. She began to affirm this prayer 3 or 4 times a day, making certain that she subsequently never denied what she affirmed. The Cosmic Energizer began to flow through her thought images, implanting them in her subconscious mind. An attorney living next door to her bought the home for his son who was getting married. He said that he had noticed the sign for sale recently for the first time, even though it had been there for a year. Her husband was called back to work and promoted. A few weeks following this prayer process, her husband's only sister, who was a spinster, passed on, bequeathing $250,000 to him, and all her gold was to come to his wife. All her problems were solved within a month. The energy does not expand in you until it is released. Remember, everything increases and multiplies after its kind. Energy, vitality, love, skill, ability, and riches are but different forms of the one power. Sow the seeds of riches, success, guidance, and right actions, realizing that no seed magnifies and multiplies unless it is sown in the soil. Your soil is your subconscious mind. How he learned to pay the price for abundance. I explained to a salesman who was making only $6,000 a year that he had to plant the seeds of riches before he could reap the harvest of the good things of life. In other words, he had to give before he could get. He could not give the Cosmic Energizer God anything, as it was all in all, the only presence, power, cause, and substance of all things. But all he had to do was to recognize the Cosmic Energizer within as the true source, give it attention and loyalty, and then pour energy, life, love, and attention on that which he wanted. When he had succeeded in establishing the mental equivalent in his mind, the result would follow. The price he had to pay was belief, and according to his belief would it be done unto him in all phases of his life. I explained to him the meaning of the biblical truth: except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. John 12:24. He realized he had to deposit the seed of riches in the garden of his mind and pour the energy of faith, confidence, and love into the seed, accelerating its growth and manifestation in his life. His magic formula for increase. This above-mentioned salesman started a prayer process by claiming regularly and systematically that the infinite intelligence in his subconscious mind was now attracting to him men and women who wanted what he had to offer, which was real estate. He claimed that they had the money to buy, and that there was a divine exchange in which they prospered, and he was prospered. He affirmed knowingly that these prospects gave him their attention and were interested, that he would create confidence and desire on their part, and having mentally possessed the land in their minds, they would possess it objectively. He knew that possession in the mind was 9 points of the law. His sales have increased remarkably, and in the first 6 months of that year, he had been rewarded with an income of $50,000 in commissions. He has learned that by giving service and making money for his clients, he has planted seeds in his subconscious, which are bringing him a harvest of inner satisfaction and an abundance of God's riches. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Psalm. How her inner speech produced riches for her. In interviewing a young woman a few days ago, she told me that several years previously, she had been a stenographer in a government office. One morning she heard me say on the radio to watch your inner thoughts and make sure that they conform to your aim in life. In other words, your inner talking or inner speech must agree with your goal or desire in life. She said, I realized I was denying inwardly what I desired outwardly, and I stopped it. I realized that if promotion, increase in salary, and prosperity were to take place in my life, my inner speech must conform with the fulfillment of my desires. She had been conducting a mental conversation with herself when she was pondering along these lines. There is no future there. Salary is very small. I'll never get ahead, etc. Consequently, this inner speech was accepted by her subconscious mind, and she remained in that restricted and unhappy situation. She reversed the entire procedure, however, and started a wholesome, constructive inner speech pattern in harmony with her aims and purposes in life. She wrote out a sentence which to her meant the realization of her heart's desires, and she repeated over and over again many times a day, and prior to sleep her prayer as follows: I have a wonderful income. I am wealthy, happy, and free. I have a wonderful, spiritual-minded husband. I am needed and appreciated. I am expressing myself at my highest level. She repeated this until she began to feel the reality of what she affirmed. Her inner speech was the same as if all these desires were fulfilled. She knew that her inner speech or conversation would always be made manifest. After about a month, she was promoted to another department at a much higher salary, doing what she loved to do, and the supervisor of that department proposed to her. The writer had the joy of conducting the wedding service. Does your inner speech agree with your aim? Ask yourself that question. If you say, oh yes, my inner talking is exactly the same as I would talk aloud were my aims. In life fulfilled, you will enter into the joy of the answered prayer. If 2, your inner speech agreeing with your fulfilled desire, of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father, Cosmic Energizer, which is in heaven, invisible presence and power. Matthew 18:19. Points to remember. 1. There need be no energy crisis. All that is necessary is for man to tune into the great Cosmic Energizer, the source of all power and energy. And when he asks for guidance and inspiration and new creative ideas, he will get a response fulfilling all his needs. New sources and techniques will be revealed to him in divine order. 2. Every problem has a solution. For every question there is an answer. 3. Man is learning to take energy from the sun. As he turns to the Cosmic Energizer with faith and confidence, the answer will come. Its nature is responsiveness. 4. A banker made a mental pattern of the salary he wanted, knowing that the Cosmic Energizer would flow through the mold he had made in his mind, and it came to pass in divine order. 5. A waiter in Las Vegas, after reading Your Infinite Power to Be Rich, wrote down 4 things he desired in life. He went over his requests several times a day, claiming that all these were now fulfilled in his experience, and as he continued faithfully and knowingly, he succeeded in impregnating all 4 in his subconscious mind, and they came to pass. 6. A young electronics engineer is intensely interested and enthusiastic in his work, which causes a tremendous release of creative energy and new ideas from the Cosmic Energizer. From a salary of $12,000, he has advanced to $30,000 in 1 year. 7. The son of a slave came to a decision that there was a better life for him. He had a vision of abundance and God's riches for himself and his family, knowing that the almighty power would back up his vision. He is now a multimillionaire, head of one of the biggest banks in the West. This is what he said: the poorest man can become a multimillionaire if he just sets goals for himself and then works to reach them. You can be whatever you want to be. 8. When you want to sell a home, Do not think of all the reasons why you can't, but realize there is an infinite intelligence that will attract to you the right buyer, who will appreciate your home and prosper in it. As you accept this truth, the deeper currents of your mind will bring it to pass. Instead of thinking of debts, bills, etc., reverse the procedure and claim that God is your instant and everlasting supply, meeting all your needs now. As you do this, the Cosmic Energizer will flow through you, filling up all the empty vessels in your life. 9. You must learn to pay the price for what you want. This means you must establish the mental equivalent in your subconscious mind. The price you pay is belief. You must give before you can get. You must put the seed in the ground to get a harvest. Likewise, you must let the Cosmic Energizer flow through your ideals, hopes, and aspirations, vitalizing and energizing them, and then you will feel the joy of the answered prayer. 10. Claim that the Cosmic Energizer within you is now revealing to you better ways in which you can serve. You will then discover wonders happening in your life. 11. When you are seeking promotion, wealth, and marriage, make sure your inner speech, i.e. your silent talking to yourself, conforms to your aim or desire in life. In other words, be certain that your inner talking is the same as it would be if your prayers were answered now. Let your inner speech be from the standpoint of fulfilled desire. Remember, it is your inner speech which is always made manifest.